The scent of rosemary chicken had faded into a cold, oily perfume in the air. Tom sat on the couch, shirt unbuttoned halfway, his chest rising slowly with each heavy breath. He looked at the flickering candlelight, now more of a mockery than a mood setter. The clock ticked louder than usual, each second reminding him she hadn't called. He whispered, more to the silence than to himself. She forgot. Again. Nino. Outside, rain began tapping gently against the window pane, like soft apologies from the night. His hand trembled slightly as he reached for his phone. No messages, no missed calls. A deep sigh escaped his lips as he stood up, walking over to the calendar and tracing the red-circled date, anniversary. His fingers hovered there, then clenched into a fist before falling back to his side. A shiver crept across his bare chest from the cool draft under the door, or maybe from the emptiness. The next morning, Tom barely noticed the buzz of office life around him. Ava approached, her heels quiet but her presence unmistakably warm. "You said it was your anniversary yesterday," she said, her voice laced with care. She handed him a tiny, elegant box, simple yet intentional. Inside, a silver pen engraved with his initials glinted under the desk lamp. Tom swallowed, trying to steady his breath. No one had remembered in years. "I didn't think anyone would," he muttered, touched. Ava smiled, her eyes soft. "Details matter." Gee. The pen felt warm in his hand, or maybe that was just the closeness of her body. He smiled faintly, forgetting just for a moment the weight he carried. The cafe hummed with soft jazz and the aroma of cinnamon-laced coffee. Tom and Ava sat in the far corner, elbows close, breaths fogging their cups. "Did she do anything?" Ava asked gently. Tom looked away, his jaw tightening. "No. Not even a text." Yee. Tom. She reached for his hand without hesitation. Her fingers were smooth and worn, steadying, being remembered. "It's such a small thing," she murmured. He nodded slowly, his voice cracking. "But it means everything to me." "Yes." Outside, the streetlights flickered on, casting golden reflections across the glass. Inside, something unspoken curled tightly between them. The office had long emptied, but Ava remained, and so did Tom. "You didn't have to stay late," he said, voice low. "I didn't want you to be alone," she replied, barely above a whisper. He stood behind her, close enough to smell the faint vanilla in her hair. She turned in her chair, their faces aligned, their eyes locked. The air between them thickened, pulse quickening. "I shouldn't feel this," Tom said, but didn't step back. Ava didn't move either. "But you do." "Yeah." Her fingers brushed his hand resting beside hers. The slightest touch, yet so bold. It wasn't a kiss. Not yet. But something more dangerous. Permission. The lights buzzed faintly overhead, but the world outside their bubble had already gone silent. Yulia lay fast asleep, her back turned, her breath slow and even. Tom stared at his phone screen, thumb hovering over Ava's last message. "You matter." And the bed felt colder than usual, despite the warmth of her body beside him. He could hear the city outside, distant sirens, the hum of life. But all he felt was silence. He looked at Julia's shoulder, exposed from her slip. Beautiful, familiar, unreachable. The screen lit again. Another message. "Good night, Tom Dot. I mean it." Gah. Pendicero. His chest tightened as he typed, deleted, then typed again. He didn't send anything. Instead, he placed the phone screen down on his chest and closed his eyes. But sleep did not come. Tom leaned back against the break room couch, his eyes heavy with thought. Ava sat close, the heat of her thigh pressing gently into his. Sometimes I wonder if she even knows who I am anymore, he confessed. Ava turned, brushing her fingers against his hand. I do. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of the vending machine. He turned to her, their faces inches apart, breaths mingling in the quiet. Her perfume, vanilla and something deeper, wrapped around him. If I kissed you right now, would that be the line? He asked. She didn't answer, but her eyes said everything. And still, neither of them moved away. Nathan took a long sip from his whiskey, his gaze fixed on Tom's distant expression. You've been off lately, he finally said. Tom shrugged. Just work. Nathan narrowed his eyes. You mean Ava? Tom looked up, startled, the ice in his glass clinking from the movement. What are you trying to say? You smile when you talk about her. You flinch when you mention Julia. Tom looked away, jaw tightening. I'm not accusing you, Nathan said softly. I'm worried for you. The silence between them was louder than the bar's music. Ava's breath caught as Tom stepped in close, the sound of her heels echoing off the concrete walls. We can't keep meeting like this, she whispered, but didn't move. Tom placed a hand on the car behind her, trapping her gently. Then stop showing up when I need you the most, he murmured. She looked up at him, her lips parting just slightly. The cool air in the garage contrasted sharply with the heat between them. His other hand brushed her waist. Not a full touch, just a promise. I don't want to be a mistake, she said. Tom's voice dropped. Then don't feel so right. Julia poured the wine slowly, not looking at him. You've been quiet lately. Tom leaned on the counter, arms crossed. Just tired. From what? We barely talk anymore. The sound of the wine glugging into the glass filled the awkward pause. Julia turned around, the silk of her slip catching the soft light. Are you still happy? She asked. He looked at her. Beautiful, familiar, distant. I don't know, he admitted. The wine felt warm going down, but it didn't ease the chill in the room. Tom lay awake, the room steeped in darkness and doubt. Julia stirred beside him, her hands sliding across his chest in her sleep. He didn't move, didn't dare disturb the illusion of closeness. But his heart raced with thoughts of someone else. The sheets felt too tight, the air too warm, his mind too loud. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, Ava's name glowing silently. He didn't pick it up, just stared at the screen until it dimmed again. What am I doing? He whispered to the ceiling. No answer came, only the soft rhythm of Julia's breathing beside him. Tom stood still, shirtless by the window as the storm outside lashed against the glass. Ava moved behind him, her fingers sliding along his waist, warm against his bare skin. She pressed her lips to his back. Soft, slow, certain. We're past pretending now, she whispered against his skin. He turned, their eyes meeting in the dim candlelight. His hands found her waist, trembling but not stopping. The silence was charged, their breathing heavy, uneven. When their lips met, it wasn't soft. It was months of silence breaking open. The sheets welcomed them like secrets finally set free. Rain tapped steadily on the window as clothes fell silently to the floor. Julia scrolled through her phone with a blank expression. The storm outside echoed her unease, a low growl of something approaching. She opened her calendar, eyes locking on the missed anniversary date. Her breath caught. I forgot. Again? She muttered. Guilt wrapped around her ribs like a tightening belt. She tapped on Tom's message history, barely anything from him in weeks. A photo of them from years ago popped up. He was smiling in it. She hadn't seen that smile in months. She wrapped the shirt tighter around her body and whispered, "What am I losing?" Tom closed the hotel room door behind him, running a hand through his hair. His shirt was wrinkled, the air still clinging to Ava's perfume. He didn't know Nathan was there, standing silently at the far end of the hall. Nathan's eyes narrowed, his jaw tightening. "What the hell are you doing, Tom?" he whispered to himself. He watched Tom disappear into the elevator, unaware of being seen. Nathan pulled out his phone, debating whether to call Julia or confront Tom first. His fingers trembled, the weight of betrayal sitting heavy on his chest. The elevator doors shut with a soft ding, sealing more than just floors behind them. Julia smiled weakly across the table. "It's nice to have dinner again." "Yee." Tom nodded, stirring his drink without interest. She reached across, touching his hand. "I know I've been forgetful." "Yeah." He flinched slightly, pulling his hand back before forcing a smile. "It's fine," he said. But it wasn't. Her eyes searched his face for something familiar, something safe. But the man across from her wasn't just distracted. He was absent. She swallowed. "Are you seeing someone else?" Tom froze. Not from the accusation, but from the truth. Nathan stood on the rooftop, wind whipping through his shirtless torso, heart pounding. "Tom, call me back. We need to talk. Now, Donald." "Die." The call ended with silence, just like the last three. Nathan's mind raced. Hotel rooms, lies, Avatar. He couldn't ignore it anymore. Julia didn't deserve this. But was it his place to tell her? He clenched the phone tight, sweat mixing with the night air on his skin. Below him, the city buzzed on, oblivious to the unraveling lives above. "What would you want someone to do for you?" he muttered to himself. And deep down, he already knew the answer. Nathan grabbed Tom's arm. "You think I wouldn't find out?" Tom's breath came hard. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what the hell it is," Nathan snapped. Tom looked away, guilt pressing his shoulders down. "I needed to feel seen," he muttered. "Just once." "So you burned everything for a compliment?" The wind howled around them, carrying the weight of things said and unsaid. "You're not just cheating on Julia. You're cheating on yourself," Nathan said, voice cracking. Tom didn't answer, because he couldn't. Ava sat still, wrapped in silence, the sun painting the bed in orange light. Her phone pressed to her ear. "Tom?" Only voicemail. Again. She stared at the sheets, still carrying the memory of his warmth. Regret throbbed beneath her skin, heavier than any kiss. "Maybe I was just a bandage," she whispered. Outside, birds chirped. Life moved on, mercilessly. She didn't cry. Not yet. But the ache started in her throat and didn't stop. "How long?" Julia screamed, her voice sharp as broken glass. Tom stood silently, shirtless, no longer hiding. "Tell me the truth or get out," she yelled again. His voice was hoarse. "Months. It's been months." "Yes." The glass shattered against the wall, pieces skittering across the tile. Julia clutched the counter, breath ragged. Was it her? Ava? He nodded. One slow, heavy motion. She looked at him like a stranger, and in that moment, he was. Tom sipped the suitcase slowly, the sound agonizing in the silence. A framed photo of him and Julia lay face down on the nightstand. He didn't flip it over. The air felt stale, full of the ghosts of what they used to be. He paused at the door, looking back once, hoping for something to stop him. Nothing came, just the hollow sound of his own footsteps down the hall. Sometimes, leaving wasn't a decision. It was the last remaining option. Julia sat in the park as daylight faded, the photo trembling in her fingers. It was them, years ago, before forgetting became habit. The wind carried the scent of wet leaves and spring grass. She didn't cry. She just let the ache settle in. Nathan approached slowly, unsure if he was welcome. She didn't look at him, but said, "He's gone." Me. He sat beside her. "I'm sorry you had to find out like this." "Yuna." "I'm sorry I didn't remember him sooner," she replied quietly. The last light dipped below the trees, and silence wrapped around them. Not heavy this time, just real.